Hey, what's up? It's Jim, and today I'm going to talk about Jack and Jill from 2011. And this is a winner of the Patreon movie review vote. If you would like for me to review a movie of your choice, then click on the link below and pledge, and maybe I'll be reviewing your movie next month. And this movie was selected by Austin. So I'm not really that familiar with Adam Sandler films. If you've been subscribed to me, you know that I did the Dunkaccino thing, and I've reviewed Uncut Gems. I think that's it. I don't remember. Pixels? Sure. Yeah, I don't know much about Adam Sandler movies, really. I sort of know what I've been told, and the few I've seen, like Click was pretty good, and I've seen like the early bunch that everyone really liked at the time, but I don't know them 100%. Seeing Jack and Jill was very jarring. I'd never seen it before other than Dunkaccino, which of course I watch every day because of the Daily Dunkaccino Twitter account, which is amazing, but I really don't know much about him. I think I stopped seeing them after whatever the one Jack Nicholson was in, and I only saw that on TV while I was doing something else, so I wouldn't even say I saw it. I've never seen one other than Pixels and Uncut Gems in theaters. Not a big fan. But Jack and Jill, I'd always heard, was one of the worst films ever made. It's considered maybe one of his worst, potentially. Don't really know. But on Wikipedia it says it's one of the worst films ever made, or considered to be that. I don't necessarily think that. I didn't think it was too cringe-inducing or anything. I mean, it wasn't good. But it is really watchable. Oddly enough, it's like a really bad, so bad it's good type of movie. I think everyone making this movie realized what it was. And I get the impression that everyone kind of reviling it. I don't really get it. I've read some of it and I'm like, I feel like this was purposefully not made to be like a very good movie. It's made to be pretty stupid. It's very aware of its stupidity. It moves in such a way that you feel like they knew bits weren't working and they cut out as much of the comedy as possible. Like, it feels like the reverse of Apatow, where they did maybe improv a lot and have a lot of jokes, and they're like, oh my god, all this is awful, just cut it out. This, by the way, is better than a significant amount of Judd Apatow, though, on the other end, though, but whatever. I don't like Judd Apatow that much. But the whole idea is Adam Sandler's character, who's Jack, he's an ad executive who has an ad company that has like 200 people. They're about to lose Dunkin' Donuts as a client, but they tell him if they can get Al Pacino to advertise their new drink, the Dunkaccino. This is not a joke, by the way. I want to preface this. As Dunkaccino heavy as I am, this is the plot of Jack and Jill. I just want to preface that. He's going to lose Dunkin' Donuts unless he can get Al Pacino to do a Dunkaccino commercial. Also, spoilers, I found out, Dunkaccino is the conclusion of this film. So if you see this movie and you're like, how many Dunkaccinos am I going to get? Only one. Daily Dunkaccino in a week has more Dunkaccinos than Jack and Jill. So it's already a better Twitter account than this movie. But yeah, so he finds that out. So his plotline is to try to get Al Pacino to come with his ad campaign to make Dunkaccino, where at the same time his twin sister, this film is half about him and his twin, who are different, and half about Al Pacino doing a Dunkin' Donuts commercial, which is okay. So his twin sister, who's also played by Adam Sandler, is coming to town for Thanksgiving and was supposed to leave, but of course Adam Sandler Jack hates dealing with her and hates that he has to see her and finds her embarrassing, but she keeps staying and getting into situations, and even gets some flirtations from Al Pacino himself, who will definitely do the ad if he is able to have more of a relationship with Jill. And they go on a vacation, which to my understanding is something Adam Sandler movies do. They go on a cruise, which cruises never felt appealing to me in the slightest, but they go on a cruise to Europe or something. I'm not sure. Anyway, this movie's really not very good, and I get that part of it, but I also think they fully get that it's like Adam Sandler playing, the regular Adam Sandler role, I guess, I assume, and then him, dressed up as a woman the whole time as a sister. That's like the whole joke of the movie. The film really gets that this is really stupid, and it plays it as a stupid movie. It really does. It's really playing it as like, this is dumb. But here's the weird thing. It's like the cutting, it moves really fast. Like, I was surprised by that as a comedy, particularly in this era. It's moving ridiculously fast, where how it cuts as a comedy is weird. It'll drop bits and bring bits back. That felt different from most Adam Sandler stuff, which reminded me of like just like having a bit come back over and over again, like the kid who tapes stuff to him that is important to some parts of the movie, and then they forget about it in other scenes, and then it just comes back like 15 minutes later. There's like no rhythm to it, which a lot of this, like, I almost feel like it's like anti-comedy or some like avant-garde kind of thing in a way, the way they cut it. Like there's one part where Jill and Jack's daughter get like dolls made to look like them or something, I don't know, and you don't see the like a close-up of her doll. You just see that they did this, and then later in a scene that's like completely unrelated, a lot later, you suddenly get a close-up of the doll out of nowhere. And part of me was just kind of shocked. Like this would happen a lot. They'll have a callback to something just like randomly, and there's no like comedic reason. It's not like, oh haha. I can't even think of a reason any of them would work. They don't make any sense at all, but they have that in there. I was like, but what? Like that doesn't make any sense. And it feels like these movies are half like Adam Sandler wants to do like dumb bits, and then he just wants to have like, you know, fun experiences, and if it decently sort of looks like a movie, it's cool, I guess. And that's sort of what Jack and Jill is like, when all the Adam Sandler parts, because it feels like they're unnecessarily like sort of bored and cynical with it, but in a way that's like not bored and cynical in the normal Hollywood way where they just hit beats. It just feels like, well, we're doing this, so it's got to have this, and you know, we'll have a little fun. It looks like Adam Sandler laughed a bit or something, and they'll do a few bits, but they don't like really commit to it. It looks like they didn't even do that many takes. That is ridiculous. The whole thing of it is ridiculous, but it just like, it kind of like keeps going in a way that's like sort of sitcom-y, sort of just really quickly shot. He's married to Katie Holmes because in all these he's married to like some name Hollywood actress for some reason, which I never really got. Like, I guess it's a paycheck, but it's weird. Like him and these actresses have like him and Katie Holmes have no chemistry really, but they're married. They do have Eugenio Derbez, I believe, who's a Mexican comedic actor, and I think he hadn't had his kind of real blow up thing at this time with the Instructions Not Included movie. So it's interesting that he was in this a little like 2 years before. It feels like Adam Sandler sort of knew something was happening. Then when you get into the Al Pacino parts is kind of the more interesting parts, which both play on the, like, this film feels like with the Al Pacino casting, it gets how stupid it is that Al Pacino is in this movie, but it seems to have a lot of fun with that. There's a part where like Jill is playing stickball for some reason, and she breaks Al Pacino's Oscar, and she was like, well, you must have a lot of those, and he was like, well, you'd think, but no. And it's like the joke of Adam Sandler in a movie with Al Pacino breaking his Oscar, like it's ruining his reputation just being in here, and then even calling out that, you know, Al Pacino, you'd think he would have better movies to do, better stuff to do, but obviously he doesn't. Like, think of the 2010s. Like, did we get great Al Pacino performances in anything? Like, I don't think we actually really did. It's constantly bringing these like ridiculous things up. There's a part with like Johnny Depp has a cameo in this for reasons I'm assuming because Al Pacino was there. I have no clue, but he's just there, and they're making like really quick, easy to digest. I forget even what Johnny Depp says, but it's such like easy kind of conversational, like sitcom kind of humor. And Al Pacino's like got a ridiculous beard on. Like, Al Pacino seems like he's having a lot of fun because he's not being serious Al Pacino. He's playing off of the reputation of Al Pacino. I've heard this about like, you know, like later Bob Dylan, like why he wants to do crooner and Christmas albums, because he wants to mess with the kind of idea of what he's built up to be. And this is sort of what I think Al Pacino is doing here, which makes it, that part of the movie, like the most entertaining part, because you can tell he is messing with it. You know, when he's wearing a big beard at a basketball game, it looks like so stupid and silly, but Al Pacino doesn't do these kind of ridiculous comedies. In fact, I don't think he's done one since. De Niro does that all the time, but Pacino doesn't, because you think Pacino is kind of more, you know, I mean, to me, they're both excellent actors, but it just feels like Pacino would never do something like that, because he never did all these comedies and things like that. And then you even have him, you know, playing on stage and like and getting mad at people. You have all these things. I think the Dunkaccino thing literally actually plays into the grand finale of the film, because it's almost like this is like his grand selling out. This great actor who everyone respects because of The Godfather. He gave one of, you know, cinema's great, if you're going to make an all-time list of performances or something or whatever, you'd put him in there in a certain part. And the fact that he, you know, goes through this whole ridiculous Adam Sandler movie that he knows critics aren't going to like, and he's, you know, being, you know, really outrageous and everything like that, and then, you know, you have him sell out and do a Dunkin' Donuts commercial it's literally a Dunkin' Donuts commercial. They know they want him to be in it. They hype this up. They talk to him a million times, and then he does it. Is like the ultimate like letting go of the idea of kind of Al Pacino. I find that whole like kind of thing going on there to be actually really fun. It's fun. I'm happy for Al Pacino in that case. This does have various like Adam Sandler people. From Norm Macdonald has a brief part. You have David Spade dressed as a woman. Also, they make a joke about Rob Schneider, and Adam Sandler as Jill says, "Hey, I kind of like him." Which I was like, of course. This is not a good movie. It feels very lazy, but it feels like the people like sort of know it. They're like, you know, we'll just do it and like whatever. And I actually heard like people like Andy Samberg in an interview say, when That's My Boy bombed, that Adam Sandler was like, I mean, you know, there'll be another hit, it doesn't matter. Like he really had this very lazy kind of attitude at the time, and this feels like they knew they had to turn in something that was a complete movie and do the certain bits and stuff, but it just doesn't feel like they were prepared to do anything more than that. And that's kind of the normal part with the Thanksgiving and the sister, but the Al Pacino part, I think it's just so funny. I just love Al Pacino like having fun and ridiculous comedy and owning it. There's a lot of actors who have to do these kind of things don't own it as much as Pacino. I don't think De Niro owned it as much as Pacino did in this. Like, he wasn't as self-aware as Pacino was in this. Most of the time it's like, oh, De Niro, like, why are you doing a movie with Zac Efron? Like, Pacino did Jack and Jill, and we still talk about how ridiculous that is and how funny it was that he did that. And if you look at almost every scene Pacino's in this movie, he makes it far more entertaining because he's sort of playing up his Al Pacino-ness. He's, you know, either going after Jill and he's like being very like confrontational, the kind of thing you're used to. It's very funny watching Al Pacino in this movie. You would really never expect him to do that, and I think because he never did it again, it's not like he did like 20 Adam Sandler movies, it makes this kind of like a special little thing. So, but it is also weird when you get to the Dunkaccino part, because that literally, like, that and the conversation he has with him after is the end of the movie. Like, there's no more Jack and Jill. Like, you have to sit through this whole thing so he can, but that's like a climax of all climaxes. If you're going to end, you might as well end with what ends up being like the most competently shot thing in the entire movie, which is actually kind of funny. Looks like they put more time into that skit than anything else in this entire film. But, you know, if you're going to spend more time on anything in this movie, then you might as well make it the Dunkaccino bit. So, and I mean, really, what else is there to say after Dunkaccino anyway? All right, so if you have seen Jack and Jill and you would like to talk about it, then comment below in the comments and subscribe if you would like to. And this was a winner of the Patreon movie review vote. If you would like for me to review a movie of your choice, then click on the link below and pledge, and maybe I'll be reviewing your movie next month. Thank you very much for watching. And sorry, I didn't notice that you could see this. So I was like, well done with this. So sorry about that. Oh well. It's the one where you see that. So that's the thing, I guess. I don't know.